You were speaking at the event. So can you tell us what your session was about, and what do you hope the audience will take away from it?
Sure. So actually, I was speaking in a fireside chat with Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty, who's the CEO and founder of Narayana Health. The reason why I chose him and I got him to come was that in technology today, we're all about machines and software and hardware. And I think we've forgotten along the way the human side of it. And Dr. Devi stands as an amazing reminder of what it means in terms of empathy, patience, humanity, grace, and heart. And that's what he practices and exemplifies in Narayana Health. So, my session was really about how the world is changing today and how AI is really taken over. But what are the skills in the future that will be required? For example, in the future, I do believe that because the machine is going to do so much of repetitive work, I do think there'll be much more need for caregivers, for creative people, for strategy people, for people who are collaborators, for people who bring people together. So the people skills will become more important. And how do we teach this in medical schools? How do we teach empathy? How do we teach love for people and humanity and service? The whole notion of what service is how do we teach that? And how do we bring that humanness back into healthcare was really my talk.
Okay. As someone who has tracked global healthcare innovation, for years, what do you see as the biggest opportunities for digital health adoption in the Middle East today?
I think there are many opportunities that we have for digital health, but I think some of the few that I think that I would pick today is looking at mental health, because I think the state of mental health in this region is very difficult. I think we have a large population of expats who are coming here who are in the service industry, and this I'm talking of more the blue collar workers, and there's no avenue for them to take care of their health. So I think mental health is very important for the average middle class. I think the other area that needs a lot of work that we need to work on is diagnostics. I think screening is very important today. We don't have enough screening and awareness of screening, and we need to have insurance companies covering screening. Like many insurance companies do not cover basic mammograms, colon cancer test, the basic tests that are required to live and prevent. So we need to build a preventative culture into this region. And I think the third pick that I would give in this region is really building the whole aspect of wellness. And I think we've already started on that journey of trying to focus from sick care to health care. And I think that's where the future is going to be for us.
Healthcare systems are under pressure from aging populations, rising costs, and the demand for personalized care. Now, which digital health solutions do you believe are best positioned to address such challenges?
So there's going to be about 5 billion people in the world out of 8 billion by 2050 that will suffer from some level of chronic disease, maybe one or two chronic conditions. So if we don't take action now, the cost of GDP today, the average global cost of GDP is 13% per country. The US obviously has a much higher cost of around 17-18%. But if we continue on this trajectory, the annualized GDP cost globally on average will be 20-25%, which is very high. So the thing that we need to do is really think about curtailing chronic disease. So what we have to do is that people who are already diagnosed, we have to ensure that they continue to stay on that path. So diabetes is a big one, especially in this region where the numbers are so high. So I think it's very important for us to be able to have products and digital solutions that are being able to track and monitor HbA1c levels, fitness levels, cardiovascular health, weight, obesity, all of this on a regular basis, and create awareness. Awareness campaigns need to be created. So I think those are all digital solutions in terms of patient monitoring, consumer monitoring. I think that's a big one today.
The whole data interoperability and trust are recurring barriers to digital health transformation. So, from your perspective, how can governments and industries work together to overcome these hurdles?
So I think the simplistic way, I think we need to first create policy and standards to work across. The second thing is we need to build more public-private partnerships and create an ecosystem of public-private partnerships. And that has to be driven from both the private sector and the public sector, and come up with the business models that work for both parties and are winning solutions. And that is the way trust can be attained.
Now, startups and entrepreneurs are a major part of WHX tech agenda. What advice would you give health tech innovators trying to break into this highly competitive sector?
Try to solve a big problem. Make your product a painkiller, not a vitamin. There are too many vitamin and supplements coming out here. I'm talking about it theoretically, not actually. We need more painkillers. We need solutions that actually solve a problem. Get clinicians and the healthcare community involved. Having an IT software product and selling it to healthcare is not good enough. One has to be driven. It has to be driven by healthcare. Unless clinicians, nurses, lab tech people are involved in the sales of their product and involved in the development of that product and the conceptualization and pilot of that product will never be successful. And so pain points are very important to solve. Getting healthcare workforce involved in the development of the product is important. And I think showing outcomes. Just having a software is not good enough. What is the outcome? It's so important to have a clear outcome and an ROI. And that ROI needs to be very clearly driven. The other thing is, who is your target audience going to be? Who are you selling to? Are you selling to insurance companies? Are you selling to a hospital? Who's going to pay for that product? So think about these questions early on before you actually start your journey on building a product.
Okay. Now, last question. Now, looking ahead, say 5 to 10 years, what disruptive trends do you believe will fundamentally reshape how healthcare is delivered and experienced globally?
I think we are coming to a system of modular, personalized care, as I call, which is similar to the IKEAization of healthcare. So where you go to an IKEA and you buy systems that work for you, you buy products that fit your room and your size and your specs. And I think healthcare is coming to that point that is going to be modular and shaped by your needs. Personalization is going to be very important. I think data is going to be most important because data will enable us to have risk screenings done, to be able to know what we are risky for. Are we going to have glaucoma because my father had it? Am I going to get Alzheimer's because my mother has it? So those are the risk factors that we will be able to learn and take precautions from in terms of changing our lifestyle.